This house, we put an external filter on to filter the water coming in from Wasco. Now the Wasco water that we get has been treated, so it's been chlorinated, so we drink it. It's safe to drink though. We do use water purifiers, but the water tends to have a lot of sediment in it. So one of the things is we put a filter in the system to catch the sediment, and the filter needs to be replaced every 4 to 6 weeks. 8 weeks, 6 weeks is sort of where we target it. The filters that we use that seem to work really well for us, they're a 20-inch by 4-inch filter, or 4.5-inch filter. This one is a 5-micron sediment filter, which is a polyester, so it'll actually take everything down to 5 microns. And in the box, when you open the next box, let us know if you're changing these filters, because we need to order them. We normally want a supply of about 6, which would be about 6 months worth of 6 to 7, 8 months worth of supply on hand. In the box is going to be this, which is a wrench to open the filter, and there'll be a tube of this, which is essentially a non-toxic lubricating gel. So the filter is located at the back of the house where the water pumps are.
Near the dog kennel.
A couple things that we have to do. First, in order to do this, we actually have to turn all the water systems off. So I'm going to hope right now that nobody's using water.
Chase went to shower.
Bother. Is he showering? I don't hear him. We'll try and get to him before he showers. Anyways, you can edit that out. So one of the things you have to do is you have to stop the water from coming into the system. So we have 3 big tanks, and these tanks have to be turned off to stop water from coming into the system. So that's step 1. Step 2 is back in here. So the large pump that does not have the red thing, this large pump is the house that feeds the house, and it is the one that is attached to the water filter, which is located there. And we have a pressure tank that keeps the water at a certain pressure. Now we've turned the water coming into the pump. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the pump now so that there's no power. That'll stop water from being pushed into the system. We have a valve down here that actually stops the water from going into the house, and we have a valve down here that manages the 40 or 50 gallons of water that sits in the pressure tank. Now, once those are all stopped and the pump is off, and we have no water coming this way, we have no water backflowing and no water coming from the pressure thing, we then push this valve, and this is going to basically take the pressure, because we keep the water at around 50 pounds per square inch. So this will take the pressure out of the water filter. You do that for a little bit. Doesn't take long, probably about 30 seconds. I'll set this stuff down. Now, this is a bit tricky because it tends to be a bit stiff, but you basically, this wrench slides up here, and then these grooves fit into that. And I can never remember which way these are supposed to go, so I usually end up having to do both. But I believe it is left to loosen. So we're gonna go left.
You're gonna break it.
And I don't want to break it today. Pressure has a little bit to do because the pressure actually seals it to the system.
There you go, it's moving.
That sure feels wrong. Sorry. I was right. It's opposite of what you would normally experience. So basically, in order to loosen it, we actually turn it this way.
I'll edit that part out.
Yeah, edit that out. So basically, once you've got it, it's a little messy, so you're gonna get a little wet.
Yep. I'm trying not to get your iPad wet.
All right, so now we've got the filter in there. I'm just gonna step over here for a moment and toss the filter out. Now, as you can see, it's fairly brown. That's basically doing its job. So it is what the water is. There's sediment in the water, and it is capturing that sediment. So the process, again, is not super complicated. We have the filter. We take the plastic off the filter. We drop the filter into there. We make sure that this rubber seal, I've got enough goop on it, but if I didn't, I would actually take this material. I thought it was a bit dry, and it's just like a silicone, but it's a non-sticky silicone. And it just makes sure that this doesn't dry out, and it gets you a little better seal, which I was having a challenge taking it off.
But that part's edited out, so nobody will see it.
Okay, I'll just edit that. All right, so basically we put a bit of the seal around here, and that just keeps everything happy. We set this up. Again, we're now looking at the threads. We're gonna turn it this way. So we get this up in here, and it's a bit tricky. You gotta kind of get it lined up and get it going and get it into the grooves. And sometimes that can just be a pain.
In the butt.
We can edit that out, please. There. Once I know that I've got it cooked in the grooves, if I can let go and it just sits now. It should turn freely. And mostly you could just tighten that by hand. I take the wrench, which I've lost. Here it is. I take the wrench and just give it a subtle, just not a lot. It doesn't have to be super tight. The seal will be fine. Now, once we've got that done, we turn the house water back on. We turn the pressure pump back on. We turn the pumps back on out here first before we set the pump. Those are they're a bit stiff to turn, so.
Yes, they're seriously stiff. Basically, he's going to turn.
Okay, watch.
Really stiff.
And we basically keep all three turned on. The tanks don't feed 1, 2, 3. The tanks, when they receive water from Wasco, actually all fill equally the same. So all three are basically turned on. Once we've got the water turned back, we then plug in the pump. And this will kick in right away because we'll want to rebuild pressure back into the system. Basically, there's nothing leaking. That's on, those are on, the pump's on.
And we're all
We are
good.
done.